Good day, folks. Welcome back to Swords and Stones. This is Tim, your game host. So another novelty video for you for this afternoon. I thought I would do something different. Instead of going through my game book shelves and posting a shelfie, which, we all love to do, I would go through and list for you, or give you a quick look at the accumulated inspiration that I've brought into my wonderful little computer since I got back into the hobby in 2019, 2020. Did I go overboard? Oh, most likely. But you know what? Inspiration and just from artwork and just from layout and adventure design and description is huge for me. Probably huge for a lot of us in the hobby. Whether we're working on our own game guide system or whether we're working on our own adventures, homebrew stuff, or just wanting to feel inspired to keep playing. So I thought I would go through with you, just quickly run through all the wonderful stuff that I have downloaded for in PDF form over the last 6 years. A little bit here, so hopefully it won't take too long, but there is quite a bit to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the preview because we don't really need to see that at the moment. And just pop in. I've got that all divided up into folders for different games, as well as I have a folder for just adventure modules, and I have folders within that divided up by system as well. So let's start at the top. So 5e, that's more or less the most current. And even though you got the 2024 version out, it's still technically 5e is what they're saying. I call it 6e, but whatever. So as you can see, several PDFs with regards to the 5th edition. I've got pretty much all the main books. I have the Dungeon Master's Guide, I have the Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide. We've got Action Reference Page, Game Master's Toolbox. We've got Tales from the Yawning Portal, Cauldron of Everything. Legendary Locations, Game Master's Legendary Locations, Game Master's Book of Astonishing Random Tales, and Random Encounters. Those 3 books, plus Traps and Puzzles and Dungeons, I also have within the Game Master series. And they're really awesome reference materials to get your creative juices going. Okay, so let's pop over to that next folder. This was going to be a long one. So old school D&D, I started with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition back in 1980-81, and of course there's been several since then, obviously. I played that till about 92, 93, somewhere in there, early 90s, and then of course, family, got married, had kids, and had to do the whole grown-up stuff for a little while, and then came back to the hobby in 2019, early 2020, beginning of COVID. So having said that, let's start with first edition AD&D, and I have pretty much the entire collection. I might be missing one or two here and there, but as well as hard copies, I also have the hard copies of the original Deities and Demigods, which has the Cthulhu mythos in there. I have the Oriental Adventures, the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. Mine are the Orange Spine versions, so they're the second editions releases of those, I believe. But we've also got a whole whack of other stuff in here. I've also got a hard copy of the Monster Manual 2 and the Fiend Folio, which they're not the OGs, they're printed copies that I got off of Drive-Through RPG. So going through here, we got obviously I've got even a DM screen. I've got a coloring book, Dungeoneer Survival Guide, the Complete Thieves Handbook. Stuff that they started with this edition and then really got heavy into in second edition are the supplement guides. So we go into second edition books here, and again, tons. Here we've got the Monstrous Compendium, Book of Artifacts. Here's the Player's Handbook. I've got the DM's Guide, the Monster Manual. Then you got all these supplementary books: the Complete Book of Humanoids, Fighter, Wizards, Dwarves, Necromancers. So tons of reading material if that's what you're into, playing these games. I use them as reference and inspiration. I do read. I mostly just skim. I'm not a heavy reader, but it's still they're extremely helpful. And then we get into 3.5. Not a heck of a lot for 3.5, but I do have the main books: the DM's Guide, Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook. There's the Draconicom and Rules Compendium. Fourth edition, I don't have anything other than the Monster Manual. For some reason, I couldn't find the others, but working on that. Dragonlance books, again from AD&D. So we've got the Dragonlance Accessory, um, Dragonlance Adventures, Greyhawk Adventures hardcover, Player's Guide to the Dragonlance Campaign. Don't have any hardcovers of those. We got some Forgotten Realms in here. We've got the Greyhawk stuff. Again, just a few PDFs of each just to give me a sampling. We also have the D&D Rules Cyclopedia, which is a huge compendium of all the major rules for these versions of D&D. All right, back here to we'll get into adventure modules after. I'm going to get into the assorted independent or indie game books, which I obviously didn't spell right. It says any. But let's move on. Basic Fantasy, hugely popular version of rewrite of the basic Dungeons and Dragons. And I have hard copies of just about everything of this. I have a ton of about 5 or 6 of their modules in hard copy, and I have the Basic Fantasy 4th edition rulebook as well. So really cool stuff. Really good to skim through and check out the basic rules and the mechanics, etc. Castles and Crusades, another hugely popular Advanced Dungeons and Dragons adjacent a rewrite and a reorganization of the older rules. Very well done. Very, very well done. Maybe we will put on the preview pane so you can see the covers. So we have the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook. This is the latest edition here. This is a second print for the Monsters and Treasure, so they're a little older. But yeah, so I've got mostly just the Player's Handbook. I don't have the Castle Keeper's Guide. I'm trying to find that one as well. What else do we got here? We have old TSR Conan. So this is the Conan TSR role-playing game. So we have mostly source books. We got a quick start guide, player's guide, and there's a little bit of adventure campaign books in there as well. Another hugely popular TTRPG, and the last that I'm getting to see with some of the funkiest dice mechanics that I've seen yet. If you like rolling lots of dice, then you'll really like Dungeon Crawl Classics. This is a cool game. It is wild and crazy and crunchy. If you like crunchy, then you'll really like this. And you like wild and crazy and all over the place kind of type of play. You can tell by the artwork here that it is absolutely fun to sit and read through, even just to skim through and check out the art. But yeah, pretty cool. So I also have some adventures in here. I got People of the Pit. I have Tome of Adventure. I actually have the hard copy, can't talk, of this as well. I have the X-Crawl Classics, which this is kind of cool. Quite the concept. So basically, you have monsters, you have mutants, you have player characters, all teaming up to fight in a gladiator-style combat arenas. And you travel around to different arenas and you try to win one for your team and build up points. And yeah, some of the cool character classes in here and stuff like that. The artwork is what really gets me. I absolutely love it. I'm an amateur artist myself, and I just love looking at this stuff. So yeah, so that's Dungeon Crawl Classics. We have what I consider probably the most popular OSR adjacent or even D&D adjacent version of a tabletop role-playing game, and that's Dragonbane. Dragonbane is freaking amazing. It's a roll under system, so it's just like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, where you roll under to be successful for a skill check or an attribute check. The artwork is my favorite artwork out of, I would say, any of the role play game books that I've gone through so far. The artwork in these books is just simply top notch, and all you got to do is look at the cover, look at some of the photos or the drawings inside here, and you are immersed into the Dragon Bane. It's just simply cool. I have the hard copy book of the rules, The Path to Glory, which is an adventure anthology, as well as the Bestiary. Yes, I do say Bestiary, not Bestiary, because it's not spelled BEA. Anyway, John, let me see if I can pronounce his last name correctly. Egerkrantz is the lead illustrator, and there's additional art by Nicholas Brandt. Just amazing. I just absolutely love this stuff. Like, look at that. Does that not inspire you just to want to either watch a sword and sorcery cartoon or movie or play this game? It's absolutely awesome. It is a bit crunchy for sure. It's probably got about as much crunch as you would find in any advanced D&D type book, but and you've got boons, you've got banes, you've got pushing your roll, you've got all kinds of cool different mechanics to play in this game, which are just fun. I love scrolling through this. I probably look at this at least once a week just to have a look at the artwork, because it's just friggin' beautiful. I've also got here's a PDF for Dragon Bane Solo in the bestiary. Here's the cover here. Again, look at that. That's just freaking amazing. Here's the Path to Glory, and I love this. These guys are awesome. I would love those guys on my team. Okay, moving along. Try not to take up too much. Dungeon World, another one that is actually quite popular. I haven't delved into it too much because this is a very big book. It's like 400 pages. But it's an OSR adjacent style game. As far as the mechanics and such, there, like I said, I haven't really delved into it too much. But the premise of the game and the layout is easy to read, black and white. I have heard that it's just matte paper. I haven't looked at a hard copy of it, but yeah, cool book. And there's all kinds, like the Dungeon World Guide. This is a PDF version of just the print, but yeah, another cool OSR adjacent. Here's another very popular one that I picked up really early on when I started investigating the hobby and seeing what was out there and being completely overwhelmed with the amount of information and games that are just accessible. But Index Card RPG by Runehammer. This is fun stuff. The artwork is simple, but it's expressive. That's what I think is so cool. Easy to read because it's just black and white. I actually have the master guide in hard copy, and it's very easy to read. Pages are just matte paper, the cover is gloss, and that's about it. Matte paper is way easier to read for someone like myself that wears progressive lenses. But yeah, easy to understand, easy to figure out, and one of the coolest things about that system is that it offers you more than just fantasy. Sword and sorcery. It also offers you sci-fi and modern as well. One of my favorite creators on the tube, someone who is an amazingly cool artist, as well as very creative. The guy's imagination is just off the charts. Love watching his videos. JP Coover. This stuff is freaking amazing. I actually signed up to his Patreon, so I have hard copies of just about all of this stuff. But there's some very cool things like big weirdos. This is describing NPCs, drawing cities. Not only does he create adventures and creates, these are all zines, by the way, digest size, but he also creates guides. These are guides on how to draw cities, how to do what he does. So not only is he sharing his artwork and his concept and his imagination by creating adventures and supplement guides like these in these digest zines, but he's also giving you the opportunity to do the work yourself and learn to try to do similar stuff to what he does. So there's drawing dungeons, there's drawing monsters. I mean, it's just fun stuff. Here's Keeper's Call. This is his own game, his own system, which he calls as agnostic or not based on anything specific, but pardon me. Yeah, cool. I mean, like I said, the guy's imagination is just off the charts, and love the inspiration I get from his books. Another inspiration for myself for when writing my own system guide back in 2020 was Ben Milton's Knave. This is Knave 1.0. Very simple. I mean, how much more simpler do you need? 7 pages. And then there's Knave 2E, second edition. This is cool as well. Again, as far as the system is concerned for playing, it takes up maybe 3 pages. The rest of this, 80 some pages, is random tables. And so that, I mean, if you just had this book sitting at your game tape when you need something to come up with on the fly, boom, there you go, done like dinner. So I've got a lot of his stuff here. I've even got one of his adventures that he wrote, The Waking of Willoughby Hall. So pretty cool stuff. Lord of the Rings, The One Ring, just got this recently. My son-in-law actually has the hard copy of The One Ring, what is it? Tales from the Lone? I can't remember. But anyway, the One Ring second edition, and we've had a look at that. Now that you want to talk crunchy, holy moly, that's pushing the limit, almost getting close to Pathfinder kind of crunch. But it's fun because it's Lord of the Rings, and what more inspiration do you need? Monster tomes. So I have a folder here with just monster manuals that I pulled from each system, just so I have a quick reference. Morkborg, or Merkberg, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but I don't speak the language, so of course my pronunciation is way off. Now this is a cool system, very cool. This is a fantastic zine-sized or digest-sized book as well, which I also have a hard copy of this, as well as Pirate Borg. The only thing I ran into with this would be reading this text on this kind of a bright background, as well as this. I mean, you go from super bright like this to gray and dark, and your eyes, well, my old eyes, have to adjust. It takes a minute. So that in itself was a little bit of a negative, but other than that, not so bad. I mean, it's still a cool book. Tons of inspiration. Another one I just picked up recently is called Nimble. Now, everybody that I've seen online talk about Nimble says this is the what 5th edition should have been. The way it's laid out, the way it was designed with regards to handling the mechanics. So I haven't delved into this one as well too deeply, but it is laid out really, really well. Short paragraphs, easy to read. The artwork is nice, as you can tell. A hard copy of this, no, it's digest size as well, but a hard copy looks like it would be glossy paged. So I'm glad I have the PDF version because it's a little easier for me to read. Now that's beautiful artwork. I love that. Lots going on there. So yeah, again, I haven't jumped into the system to figure it out too much yet, but it's pretty cool. And then there's another supplement here. You got Nimble Heroes. So this talks about some of the classes that you can play while you're playing Nimble. So kind of cool stuff. Moving along, original Dungeons and Dragons. So I happen to have digital copies of the original books written by Gary Gygax. And then we got some of the others that came along afterwards. But yeah, very, very cool. Again, more inspiration to read from. Old Sword's Reign, another OSR adjacent that is very popular. Old Sword's Reign it's a fairly large book, 260 pages, but again, it's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons adjacent, OSR adjacent, whatever you want to call it, but easy to read. Like, I mean, you look at these pages on here, super simple, large print, easy to reference. So yeah, another good system. Old School Essentials. This is probably the best redo of any of the Dungeons and Dragons copycats out there, like myself. So Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy Players Tome. So this is the player's book, which I don't have hard copies of. And it's easy to follow. It's organized well. Not too many flashy colors on the pages. Black and white, basically. We get a little bit of color drawing in the middle, but yeah, that's about it. So this version of our game hobby is very well thought through and very well laid out. Here's the referee's tome as well. Again, big time color on the big time color on the cover. If I get tongue tied. But old school essentials, I mean, this again, like I said, organized extremely well. Most information is on 1 or 2 pages, so you don't have to flip back and forth to different pages. And yeah, so we got that. I've got the basic rules, optional rules, and I've got some modules here. So old school essentials modules, like just tons of stuff, which I'm actually going to move here. I'm going to move that and go up to here, and we'll paste it in here. There we go. Yeah, we'll rename it afterwards. Okay, so moving along again. OD&D, Old Swords Reign, Old School Essentials, Osric. Now, Osric is kind of similar to Old Swords Reign in a way, in the sense that it doesn't really rewrite the rules from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It just takes them and manipulates them a little bit, gets it to work in his favor. And yeah, but a cool system again. I haven't gone too deep, so I can't tell you the mechanics for sure. I do have a Pathfinder folder, but I'm not going to get into the Pathfinder folder. Shadowdark. All right, Shadowdark. We have the core rulebook here, PDF that I downloaded. Shadowdark. Now, as I mentioned previously, with Nimble. Lately, everybody is looking at Nimble because it is similar in concept to 5th edition, where it's superhero high fantasy. Shadowdark kind of flips the coin. Even though the mechanics are similar, the monster stat blocks are all more or less similar to 5e, so easily convertible. Some of the mechanics within this game are more OSR adjacent. Like you have real-time torchlight. You don't have any night vision or dark vision. Only critters do. I actually borrowed that concept for my system as well. But incredible artwork. Again, the way it's laid out, very simple paragraphs and pages, easy to read. We also have the solo dark version. And yeah, so awesome. Shadow Dark is just amazing. I do have the Star Trek role-playing game here. Now, I am a Star Trek fan, but I have not opened this up yet and gone through it, which I'll get to. Swords and Wizardry, another very popular Advanced Dungeons and Dragons adjacent or rewrite. This is a great book. One of the adventure modules, but I have the hard copy with the nice Swords and Wizardry logo on the front of it. This is one of the first original copies, but I have one of the latest versions, hard copy, that I printed off, and it's pretty awesome. Tunnel Goons. This is just a little indie game that was downloaded off the internet. It's pretty cool, very similar along the lines of J.P. Cuvert. Where it's a very, very simple game, a couple pages, and you just play along. You can look into that. Worlds Without Number. This is a pretty huge book. It's kind of a world-building reference guide more than anything. It does have game rules, and there are mechanics. But it gives you the option to create your own campaign, use this book as a guide to build your own world. But as you can see, it has a character sheet. It has game mechanics, as dice mechanics. Again, something I haven't delved into too deeply, but it is fairly popular. Okay, so now let's scroll back up, and we'll get up to the independent or indie game books. And in here, again, lots of popular stuff. 13th Age, another OSR-ish, and actually 5e conversionable game book. Very large game books, like 300 and some pages. Again, roll over D20 system, so very cool. Blades in the Dark, kind of like a modern espionage slash crime fantasy type of a game. I haven't delved into the mechanics in that one just yet. Barbarians of Lemuria. I downloaded this one because I read a lot of cool things about it. It is a roll over D20 system, very similar to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons as far as the layout and the concept and premise. The artwork is very cool. I like the artwork a lot. Again, easy to read because it's just black and white, which makes it so simple to go through. Cairn. Now here's another rules light system that was inspiration for me as well to my game. But this is a cool little book, 24 pages. That's all you need to run a nice adventure. Very similar to Knave, very similar to Index Card RPG. The biggest thing about those inspirations for my system was that they're human-centric. The focus is not being on a superhero and being the savior of the world. The focus is on just being an adventurer and surviving, and maybe you'll build a reputation as the more you play as a hero. But initially you're just an adventurer. You're just out there trying to make your way, looking for excitement and maybe some treasure or some monsters or what have you. This is the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook. I've got another copy of it in here. Crypts of Obscurum. A lot of this stuff is just cool stuff that I downloaded off of Drive-Thru RPG. Pardon me. Delves and Dangers. This is somebody that I actually follow on YouTube. They did up their own system guides, and very cool. What else we got here? Durf. This is a rules light, but very, very cool, tongue-in-cheek kind of a mini game or mini guide. Very simple. So you could grab a module or a game adventure from any other system, use this as your game mechanics or your setting or what have you, and play through anything really. Same with my own system. I've set it up so that you can just take an adventure guide from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeon Crawl Classic, Shadow, doesn't matter. Excuse me, even 5th edition, and flip the switch. Monsters are easily converted because in my system all you use is a DC challenge, okay, per level, so easily converted. Just downloaded this one a little while ago, Easy D6, also by Runehammer, written by DM Scotty McFarlane. This is a very cool system as well, and a really rules light, tries to get you to move through adventuring quickly, easily, and all you do is roll 6-sided dice. So for those people that are tired of rolling multiple different dice for trying to figure things out, give this one a shot. What else we got here? Some very cool books like this one I found, Midlife Monster Manual. This is friggin' hilarious. This gives you optional names and stat blocks for monsters out of the original Monster Manual that are midlife. So kind of like myself, I'm in my early 60s, and I can definitely relate to a lot of the stuff in here. You know, we got monsters with sore backs, monsters that are wearing glasses, monsters that that have arthritis. It's hilarious. You got to get it. Mythic Bastion Land. Here's another OSR slash 5e adjacent. This one kind of tries to fit in between as far as from what I perceive. But this is very much along the lines of the King Arthur mythos. If you like being involved in knights in shining armor and getting a knighthood and developing your own keep or your castle, and basically this is kind of pushes along the lines of mass combat sometimes, because you get out there going. Crusades are full-on wars against other factions and stuff like that. So, not too bad as far as reading. It's the issue with books of this size is that you get into tons and tons of paragraphs. Now this one's not too bad because it seems to have simplified the references on most of the stuff in there, so it's not bad. Palladium. So again, OSR adjacent, rules crunch, not light at all. If you're like My buddy that got me into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition really loved the idea of having tons of tables to reference, to find stats or results and that sort of thing. If that's what you like, you'll like Palladium as well because it is full of that stuff as well. So, but again, well laid out, fairly easy to read. But again, look at all this secondary skill tables, men-at-arms tables. Yeah, lots of tables to to scroll through. Peasantry. This is a cool, fun one that I downloaded recently as a reference from one of our dungeon tuber creations. So yeah, there's lots on here. There's swords and six-siders. Talisman. I actually have a hard copy of this one. OSR adjacent. Very, very crunchy. 300 pages to this one. So, you know, if you're good at reading novels, you'll get through this one okay. I'm not so much, so I tend to skim through and just look for pertinent information like the dice mechanics and the character classes and that sort of thing. Vagabond. Another game for 5th edition people that is being told this could be a possible replacement, kind of along the lines of Shadow Dark. This is a digest size game, and yeah, very well laid out. I haven't delved into the mechanics or anything like that yet, but as I skim through, yeah, it's different. It's interesting for sure. What else we got in here that's interesting? We got White Box. A lot of people out there have heard of White Box. This is basically a redo of one of the OD&D versions, very OSR adjacent. Okay, so going back now, we'll get into adventure modules. So I've got this broken down into obviously different systems. We've got 5th edition modules, and yeah, I've got quite a few, tons of them, like The Rise of Tiamat, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Rolled and Told. This is a book that I have a hard copy of. Where is it? Rolled and Told, right there. No, that's a map. Where did my Rolled and Told guidebook go? Well, needless to say, I have a video on my site where I went through a few books that I'd picked up, and that was, I think, last year or something like that. But Rolled and Told is one of the books that I have listed on there, so you'll see a copy of it. But yeah, so tons of 5th edition stuff. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. Oh yes, a whole whack of these. And I actually have a lot of these printed off in a binder sitting on my game shelf as well. Basic Fantasy, quite a few of these as well. I'm sure there's more, but I like the anthologies. I like having them kind of condensed into one book. Dungeon Crawl Classics, yeah, whole whack of DCC PDFs for game adventures. Just a big smattering of that. Again, for myself to play those, I just convert them over to my own system because it's very simple. Because I'm old and slow, I like things that are simple, it's easy to understand. Dragonbane, Dragonbane Path of Glory. So you have your handouts and stuff for the Path of Glory, which is the anthology. You got players maps, and then you have this one here is another anthology. It's called Dragonbane Adventures. This comes with the box set, which I have yet to pick up, and I really would like it because it's got this map right here. The box set has a cloth version of that map, which would be freaking amazing to have. And you get a set of dice, and you get all copies of all the game books, or the guidebooks, I should say. So, might be a little redundant getting the box set, but it was just cool to have that in my collection. What else we got? We got Dragonlance Adventures. We've got quite a few of those. We have Greyhawk, a few of those. This one here is Old School Essentials. So got a few of those. Mostly this is from the Adventures Anthology 1 and 2, which I happen to have hard copies of. Again, they're just digest. The insides are not very big, but not very thick, but it's got a lot of cool information in there. Morkborg, there's a few Morkborg adventures there, and then we got Shadow Dark. I've got a few Shadow Dark adventures, which these ones here, Righteous Vow, these are awesome. I just printed all these off and got them in a binder, and they're pretty cool. I'm waiting for Righteous Vow 3 to come out, and that's going to be cool to look at as well. J.P. Couvert. So, again, lots from J.P. Not only does he do the guidebooks, the digest guidebooks to help you learn how to do what he does and to give you inspiration. Like he has one with markets and magic items, so stuff that you can, kind of tables or items that you can throw into your games. But he also does this stuff, which is adventure modules or adventure zines. And these are just cool. Darkness Down Below, this is one of his big ones that's part of his box set called Dragon Town and the Darkness Below. I would love to get a hold of the Dragon Town hard copy that he just got released, and that'll be down the road, hopefully. But yeah, lots of cool stuff in here. We got Shadespeare Mountains. We got the Red Growth. This one, Red Growth, is the one that I'm using right now as inspiration for a current game that I play once a week, which I call the Mycelium campaign, Saving Copperknot. So our adventurers are actually in this domain trying to protect the origin, which is the leader of these mycelium, from a being they call the Dark Spore, who was a banished mycelium, and they're trying to protect him and fight off his creatures and all that sort of stuff. So lots of cool stuff, some pretty wicked maps from in here. Soggy Ruins of the Sentinel Keep. This was actually a postcard adventure that JP sent out with one of the zines that I got. Very cool. So yeah, lots to choose from. So much inspiration there, it's not even funny. And then we have some generic modules, generic games. So these are a lot of stuff that I just found either free or paid for, a couple bucks here and there, $5 here and there. Pulled them off of TTRPG, or you can go to Dragon's Foot online. You can get some pretty cool stuff there. It's just, there's so much out there. It's not even funny, and you will get I did get a little over and above myself. So here's one from Dragon's Foot, OSR adjacent kind of stuff, and you just get into that, or I got into that whole collecting mod, and just like, I need more. Anyways, so that's a smattering of my PDFs of guidebooks as well as adventure modules. Yeah, lots to choose from. I got so much stuff. I doubt I'll ever read it all or even skim through it all. But I think I've got, as far as PDFs, probably just a little under 4,000 PDFs. So it sounds like a lot, and it is. But I go through and I kind of pick and choose, and I have a look at one, and go, oh, hey, that looks kind of cool. Read through it. As long as it's not huge, heavy text, I'll get, okay, maybe I could use that. Just like the JP Couvert one for the Copperknot domain, and I'm using that one for my current game. So, anyways, if you have anything similar, you'd like to go through your PDFs and show the rest of us what you have on your computer collection as far as games and guidebooks and stuff like that, kind of similar to showing us your shelfies, then have at her. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, be nice if you do. Otherwise, have a great day, gang. Thanks for joining me, and keep them rolling.